On Wednesday, US President Donald Trump signed an executive order imposing sweeping tariffs on nearly all of America's trading partners. He called it Liberation Day, but for the global economy, it might signal something more serious: a brewing trade war. From April 5, a flat 10% tariff will apply to almost all countries exporting to the US. On top of that, customized higher tariffs kick in on April 9 for countries that the US believes are charging American goods unfairly due to high duty. And the list isn't short. China, for instance, has been hit with a total tariff of 54%. That includes previous tariffs and the new hike. Lesotho is facing a 50% tariff, Cambodia 49%, and Vietnam 46%. Even long-time US allies like the European Union haven't been spared. The EU is now dealing with 20% tariff. Other countries like the UK, Australia, Singapore, Brazil, and the UAE are facing the standard 10% tariff. Interestingly, Canada and Mexico aren't getting hit with any additional tariffs, but because they are already under existing 25% tariffs, except for some goods covered under the free trade deal. Looking at the numbers, Mexico exported goods worth $505 billion to the US in 2024, making it the top exporter. It was followed by China, Canada, Germany, and Japan. The impact of these tariffs is not just about the export numbers, it's also about how much a country relies on the US market. For example, about 80% of exports from Canada and Mexico go to the US, which puts them in a vulnerable position even if they avoid the new tariffs. On the other hand, the European Union and China have more diversified markets. In 2023, around 15% of Chinese export went into the US, which may help soften the impact despite the higher tariff rates. Closer to home, US consumers are likely to feel the effects as well. The United States imports about $3 trillion in goods every year, and recent tariffs on auto parts, which now stand at 25%, are already pushing up car prices. Even vehicles assembled in the US could become more expensive if they depend on imported parts. The rising costs are expected to ripple through the supply chain and eventually hit American consumers directly. World leaders have not stayed silent. China's Ministry of Commerce has called on the US to cancel the tariffs, warning that protectionism only leads to a trade war with no winners. Similarly, leaders in the European Union and New Zealand have expressed concerns, noting that these tariffs could lead to higher prices and slower economic growth, both in the US and around the world. In short, while the US government says these tariffs aim to level the playing field in trade, they could end up disrupting global markets and making everyday products more expensive for the consumers. As this situation unfolds, the coming weeks will show whether these measures lead to further retaliatory actions or force a rethink of global trade policies.